to Cosford Rise Stitchery's YouTube channel. So today we're doing something not very stitchery related. We're going to be making a wreath. So if you remember in my first floss tube, I showed you a picture of a wreath that my colleague took when she was in Prague and in the Czech Republic. And it was just gorgeous, and I really wanted one similar to it. So I've been collecting supplies for quite some time, probably actually over a year now, and I'm ready to make the wreath. So if you want to make it with me, if you want to make your own, then just follow along. First things first, we're going to run through all the supplies that we need. Right, so before you begin, you need to assemble all your supplies. So we're going to start with a wreath. I've just gone for a really basic pine base. This one also has lights in it, so hopefully that will help lighten it up a bit. I'm planning to put mine on my front door, so I think the lights will be nice at night time. And this one has come from Balsam Hill here in the UK, and this is called the Vermouth White Spruce. And then I've got my favourite hot glue gun, which I absolutely love, and then a big box of glue sticks. Now I'm hoping, since most of my decorations for going on the wreath are wired, that I'm going to be able to wire most of them on, but the hot glue gun is there for emergencies. And then I've got a pair of scissors, and I've got some jute ribbon to wrap around it, like what you can see in the inspiration photo. I've got a cup of tea, which is always absolutely a necessary supply. I've got 5 different blue and white ornaments, I've got 4 baubles, and then I've got a tree, which I'm gonna kind of dangle from the center of the wreath, like the one in the inspiration photo. These have all come from Spode. I actually got them last year on Black Friday special offer. And I'm just going to start with the 4 this year, but I thought, you know what, I can always add to it later on down the line and just collect blue and white ornaments. Now, then we have got all sorts of stuff to put on, starting with the greenery. So I've got 20 of these eucalyptus picks, which I got from a floristry website online. And then I've got some more eucalyptus. Now these ones came, I think I got these at the range maybe. And it came as like a spray to decorate for Christmas. And I just picked it apart to different bits. So this does have these little, like, it's supposed to look like icicle crystal bits on it, which isn't normally my style. But actually they're quite subtle and everything else is very plain, so I think they'll be okay. Got some really, again, subtle, this is called Gisophilia. Sorry if I didn't say that right. You know, white flowers, just to lighten it up a bit. And then some kind of odds and sods, as we'd say, that again came on some sprays. So if you're trying to do this kind of economically as possible, my advice would be look at the garlands you can buy in these home shops, or you can buy a wreath that's got decorations on it and just pull off the bits that you want for your own wreath. That's usually cheaper than trying to buy things separately. I did find the floristry websites, again, had stuff for a decent price. So just collect stuff from different places. And like I said, if you can't do it all in 1 year, that's absolutely fine. Come back to it next year, collect stuff over the course of the year. I've been here, there, and everywhere getting stuff. I've got some cinnamon sticks, so I made little bundles with my jute wire and attached it, jute ribbon, sorry, and attached it to some wire. And then I've got pine cones and these little bitty pine cones. Now, to go with the blue and white theme, on our inspiration wreath, there were some like little round medallion-y type things. I don't actually know what they are. If you're watching this and you know what they are or where to get them, please tell me. And then we've got acorns, and then we've got all our little berries. So lots of different kinds, just to spice it up a little bit. These ones just came as little tiny picks, and I've added them to the bigger wire so they're easier to attach. Right, so what my recommendation is, you get everything ready before you start. So I put my buttons on my wires like that. I made sure everything was really secure as well. So these pine cones came on picks, but I've just added a touch of hot glue because they were quite loose, and the same with the acorns as well. And we don't want to spend all this time making a wreath and then it fall to bits. So yeah, get all your wires ready. If you're using a foam wreath, this will be really easy because you can just stick the bits of wire into the foam. But I've got a wire base. Right, let's get started. Right, so we've got our wreath base. This is 32 inches, which is 80 centimeters. So it's quite a substantial size, and this is going on my front door. So she's a big girl. And as you can see at the back, she's got a wire base to help fix things too. And I've also got LED lights, which is quite nice. So I'm just gonna make sure I've got the top of my wreath at the top. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Have you made a wreath before? If you have, I would really love to see it. If you can put a picture in the comments. I don't even know if you can put a picture in the comments. I've done some really nice fresh wreaths before, done some little workshops, and they are gorgeous. There's nothing quite that beats them. But I do want this one to last a long time. So, faux it is. Right, so I think the best place to start is to go with the greenery. So I'm going to start with my eucalyptus picks. I've got 20 of these picks which will go in. And I think the main thing is just making sure they're evenly spread, tucked in really well, and that they kind of wrap around the sides as well. So we'll begin. Mine have wire bases so that I can wrap the wire round the wire on my wreath. And once you've got that wrapped around, just twist it a few times so that it's nice and secure. I have to say I'm really quite impressed with these faux eucalyptus and the faux wreath actually. It's amazing how natural they look. Do you have a fake tree or a real tree? So we have always had a real tree. I had a real tree the whole time growing up. And then when we got married, we've always had a real tree. And then last year, my mother-in-law bought a fake tree. And she didn't end up using it. She didn't feel up to decorating for Christmas. So we asked if we could borrow it. And we did. And I have to say, it's been a life changer. I absolutely love it. I think the issue is my husband's quite a perfectionist. So he likes to make sure if it's real that, you know, it stands up perfectly straight. And I understand that. But it just takes a lot of time, doesn't it? You have to go and buy it. Got needles everywhere. They don't last very long, no matter how much you water them. So yeah, the fake tree has been a game changer, I have to say. My pine wreath's got wired needles, and that's quite nice because you can really move it. So that started out pretty well for a base, isn't it? And we'll just carry on, moving on to the next bit of greenery, which again is a different kind of eucalyptus. So I've got some of those. And again, just work our way around, make sure they're spread fairly evenly. And again, these are wire, so I'll just fix them to the wire base. what I found easiest to do is just poke my wire into the wreath and then turn it over, and then I can find all those little wires and poke them through and wrap them round really easily. Just get a much better visual on it that way. So what are your plans for Christmas? Do you stay home or do you go and see relatives? So obviously many of you know most of my family's in the US and I'm here in the UK. But we do have my husband's family. We've got a very small family. My mother-in-law now and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. And that's it really. So yeah, I've got a tiny little family, so we will spend Christmas together. And of course my children as well. So they love Christmas, particularly my son. He's 11. Just gets so excited. It's my daughter's 16th birthday on the 21st of December as well. So on top of Christmas, I've got that to keep me busy. Right, how are we doing? What I want to make sure is that I get plenty of stuff around the edges. I don't want you to see the wreath from the side and it be like bold and everything else is just on the front. It's nicely tucked in, so I'm just going to turn that over now and make sure all the wires are wrapped around the base now. So moving on. I'm going to be using these sprigs, the ones that have the kind of crystal-y type surface on them. And again, just dotting those throughout the wreath evenly. I think the main thing to note with this wreath is just the sheer volume of stuff that's on it. If we go back and look at that photo, see it's just absolutely jam-packed with things. I don't know if mine's going to be quite that full, but like I said, you can always add stuff to it at a later date. Right, that's how it looks after the third lot of greenery. So next I'm just going to stick in my odds and sods, which is just bits of random greenery that came on some of the swags I bought. Right, that's how it looks after the last bit of greenery. And now we're going to move on to the Gisophylla, which is this one. Got glue stuck to everything from a hot glue gun. Right, there's 6 of those, so just make sure they're definitely evenly spread around. Right, so all the Chisophilia is wired into place. And now I think you could go two ways with this. I think you could carry on putting on your pine cones and cinnamon sticks and that sort of thing, but I think I'm going to put my ribbon on first. So as you can see in the photo, there's a ribbon that wraps around the wreath, and I'm going to go ahead and do that next because I think that will help give me a place to tuck in some of the pine cones and that sort of stuff. So I have a jute ribbon that is just really inexpensive. The one they used in the inspiration photo almost just looks like bias tape, but it's not anything special. So I'm going to start at the top and just work my way around. I hope this looks all right. Right, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn it over. And okay, that bit's done. And now you can just adjust it, make sure you're happy with the placement. Okay, so on to the next bit. I think I'm going to do my cinnamon stick bundles, and then my pine cones and my acorns. Okay, so all of the kind of woody bits, so the cinnamon sticks, the pine cones, the acorns are all here now. I'll show you what we're looking like at the minute. And now it's time to move on to the berries. So our inspiration wreath had some really beautiful apples on it, and I ordered some little apples from a floristry website online, thinking I was getting kind of life-size apples, and I got these. So I'm going to go ahead and use them because I got them, and it may be further on down the line I go ahead and replace those with something a bit more life-size. So just make sure you're obviously spreading your berries out. And that should really bring your wreath to life. What's the weather like in your neck of the woods today? It is absolutely blowing a gale outside here. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I spend a lot of time chasing trampolines around the neighbourhood. I think we finally got it in a safe spot where it's not going to run away anymore. Okay, all the berries are on the wreath now. I'll show you how that looks at the minute. Those berries just really bring it to life, add that pop of colour. And now for the fun bit, we're going to add the blue and white decorations. So while I was having a break, I was looking online, and I think this wreath, the inspiration one, I think it's in a castle in Prague. Anyway, the blue and white pottery, I think might be Polish pottery. If there's any Poles or people of Polish descent that can chime in, please do. That might give you a starting point if you're looking for something really similar. If not, there's tons of blue and white ornaments out there. You can get cheap ones, you can get, you know, Delft, ones from the Netherlands. Like I said, I got these ones are Spode. So yeah, plenty of options out there. And I'm going to start by adding my blue and white buttons first before I put my big decorations on. Okay, blue and white buttons are on, and now it's time to add the big decorations. So I've got 4 of these Spode ones now. I've obviously broken the golden rule, which is always to have odd numbers. But maybe after Christmas, if they go on sale, I'll grab a 5th one. So I've just wired these to the top. And we'll make sure those are really secure when you do wire them to the wreath, because you don't want them to go flying. That would be rather unfortunate, wouldn't it? Right, let's see how that looks with the ornaments. Right. So I finishing touch is just to add our dangly blue and white ornament. there we go. So there's our Czech inspired blue and white wreath. I'm going to go hang it up on my door and light it up. Thanks so much for spending time with me. If this does inspire you to make a wreath, please let me know. Bye everybody, Merry Christmas.